G'day, my name is Riley Morrison. Today's video is going to be the beginning of my journey to writing to market. Unlike my first books, the Lost Sun series that you can see behind me, the books I'm writing now are written to the LITRPG market. LITRPG is pretty big on Amazon right now and it has been for probably a couple of years now. So I've decided to branch out from the epic fantasy steampunk of the Lost Sun world and write a LITRPG myself. For anyone that's watched my other videos, you'd know that the Lost Sun series has never really taken off anywhere near as much as I'd hoped. So I've had to branch out a bit. So I've decided to write LITRPG as I'm a gamer and I've always enjoyed games since a kid, probably a bit too much really. So I like the idea of writing a book set in a game world. Unlike the choose your own adventure books of the 80s and 90s, LITRPG is different. It goes into a lot of gaming concepts like stat points and level up and inventories, monsters with different abilities and hit points, as well as character, like the player character or the protagonist has their own special abilities. And basically it's just a game but in book form. So a lot of the concepts you'd see in a video game cross over into the LITRPG. Now, unlike a lot of genres, LITRPG doesn't really have set guidelines that you have to write in, as in there's a lot of different types of LITRPG. Some of them are pretty weird, to say the least. The protagonist is like a dungeon cube, or the dungeon master basically, and they're trying to kill the players going into the dungeon to just almost straight up epic fantasy books, except with all the LITRPG elements added to it instead of it being like a real world that's set in a game world type thing. So anyway, I read some LITRPG books, got an idea of the tropes and what people expect. I also watched a few podcasts, or more than a few podcasts really, to get an idea of what's expected in the genre, and I tried to write to market as much as possible, but put my own spin on it. The books, Visaria Online is the name of the series, are set in the Lost Sun universe. They're sort of a sister series, as the Lost Sun universe had a game world in it, or a simulation world in it type thing. And so some of the characters in this new series are the same as the ones in the old book, but there's a whole new protagonist and everything like that in the Visaria Online world. Just they meet some of the protagonists from the other series. So eventually the two series will cross over. Probably in book 4 of the Lost Sun series, there will be the characters from this LITRPG in those books as well. So anyway, I won't get off topic. Just know that they're sort of linked. Though even though my Lost Sun series hasn't sold well, I'm hoping this LITRPG series will help with sales of it. So that's why I've set it in the same world, and the Lost Sun world is very big. So there's a lot of books and stories that can be written in it. But I'm not going to market these LITRPG books as a Lost Sun book. I'm going to have them completely separate. So it's only going to be fans that are going to even know they're linked. So for those of you who don't know what writing to market is, I think Chris Fox, another indie writer, popularized the term. It's basically choosing a big genre, especially an up-and-coming genre that's big but isn't being served by enough books yet, and then writing to that market and hitting all the tropes that market expects. It's about writing to a market you already know exists, rather than do what I did with the Lost Sun books and write what you want to write and then never find your target market, so you never get to sell your books. So that's another reason I'm writing LITRPG. I know the target market, I know the big books in the genre, the big authors, that type of thing. So when I do my ads and stuff, I'm going to target them directly, and I know I can read all their blurbs and know what to expect. So this makes it 100 times easier than the Lost Sun books, which I've really struggled to market, mainly because it crosses so many different genres, and epic fantasy readers might not like the mention of computers and other stuff like that in the prologue, and steampunk readers might not like that it's so epic fantasy, and science fiction readers might not like that it's got so much fantasy in it. But straight up lit RPG, they expect science fiction elements as well as fantasy elements. So the main reason I've decided to write to market is because I'd like to actually make some money off my books. I have a money shortage in my non-book life, so I haven't been able to promote the Lost Sun books as much as they should have been, and I've been really hamstrung in what I can do with my author business trying to start it out. So I hope by writing to market that I actually make some money and I can invest it in my books. The books, the LITRPG books, Visaria Online, I'm on the second one now, which I've written about 60% of. The first one's called Visaria Online Exile, the second one Visaria Online Odyssey. Each is going to be around 40,000 words long, and I'm planning a 3 to 4 book series of 40,000 word books each. The reason I chose to write such short books is to make them cheaper to get edited properly. I invested lots of money into the Heir to a Lost Sun and Dawn of a Lost Sun, but particularly Heir to a Lost Sun, the first book in the Lost Sun series, and I didn't want to make that same mistake again. Plus, I wanted these books out quick. I want to release them probably close together, and I wanted to write them within a month, though I've been really bogged down with book 2 as I've had a lot of stuff come up in real life. So book 2 has been a very big struggle for me, to say the least. But book 1 I pumped out in a bit over a month because it took a lot of planning to write LITRPG. There's so much you've got to do, like create character classes and stats and stuff like that. When I show you my covers, I'll also show you a bit of the book so you can get an idea of what LITRPG looks like and what I've been working on, as well as I'll show you the spreadsheet of like the main character's class so you can see the stat abilities and stuff like that, just to get an idea of LITRPG and what you've got to do. Alright, this is book 1's cover, Visaria Online Exile. I got this image off a stock art website after spending hours trying to find an image that sort of fits LITRPG. It isn't perfect. I hope the typography, which I got done separately to the cover image itself, sells that it's LITRPG. The cover's certainly not perfect, but when you're constrained by money like I am, you have to find decent stock images, and that's not particularly easy, at least ones that you not going to have to do photo manipulation and all that type of stuff. So I think this cover image sells the whole Exile name pretty well, but again, it's not perfect for LITRPG. I just didn't want to have to spend another 5 or 6 hours trying to find the most perfect image. This covers Visaria Online Odyssey. This is the second book in the series, the one I've been struggling to write, mainly because of stuff happening in my real life, though the book itself's been a bit more difficult. I've actually always found book 2's hard to write for some reason, so maybe that's just a common thing. Book 1's easy because you've got so many ideas and you're starting out, but book 2's more set in place and the characters are already in motion. I do like this cover better than the first one, and it goes with the sort of Greek vibe I'm trying to have the book. This book is set in the Odyssey expansion pack in the game world, Visaria Online. I think this sort of Greek titan and centaurs go well with it. Plus, as a thank you to my beta reader, Melody, yet again, I'm going to be naming her partner after one of the centaurs. Sorry, the other way around. One of the centaurs is going to have her partner's name. Here's the map of the book's world. I made it in a online map creation tool and paid for the commercial rights to it. I spent quite a few hours designing this map. I actually did 3 earlier versions. It's not perfect, but I did spend enough time of it and I wanted to move on, so it'll have to do. I'm going to have to make more maps too because the characters are already out of this map world, so I've probably got lots of maps ahead of me. I guess it's just lucky I like creating maps for fantasy. Okay, this is the first chapter of my book, Visaria Online Exile. This book has already been edited by my wonderful editor, Alison Aaron Wright of writeediting.com. So now you can sort of see what I mean by LITRPG. You have your character's name, or the character sheet here saying his name, his race, class, which is a spiritual warrior, player, kills, level, and then his stats, and then below that his active abilities that he's got on him at the moment, and what they do to his health. In this case, increases party health by 5%. And then active abilities, available abilities, sorry. And then, yeah, and this list here is his inventory, what he's got on him at this moment. So the rest of the book in between is a lot of sort of standard writing. It's a lot more quicker paced, actiony type stuff, but and then in between, interspersed between that, when they're in combat, you have he's losing hit points, and I coloured them red. When he gains hit points and mana points, say he uses a potion or gets healed, I added that in blue. And then when he inflicts damages, it's in green. And these colours are going to be in the final ebook too. Here's an example of a quest. He's been given a quest. Once you're ready, you need to go east to speak to the generals of the Imperial Army and end the invasion of the Republic. How you go about this task is left to your discretion. So yes, these are quests, and these are for the protagonist, and then the story goes on as normal after that, after he accepts the quest. Here's a few examples of items that the characters are being given. And I will say that this book's got quite a lot of comedy in it, so some of the items are pretty funny. Sparkle Pony Chain Vest of the Unicorn. Sparkle Pony was something from the World of Warcraft days when I used to play that. It was just a joke about people buying all mounts and stuff like that. Their characters used to ride around on. Plus also the chapters sometimes pop culture references. There's actually quite a lot of pop culture references throughout the book. Ghosts and Goblins, for those who don't know, is a popular game back in the 80s and probably early 90s, an arcade game. Alright, here's the mess of a spreadsheet with the characters' abilities and the classes. This top one is Spiritual Warrior, and this is the main character's class, and there's two different subclasses under the Spiritual Warrior class. The Healing Focus Paladin and the Damage per Second Focus Templar. The main character in my book is a Healing Focus Paladin, so it's got all his different heals listed here and other spells. And then when they reach level 10, they'll reach tier 2 abilities, which I haven't done yet. So yes, this is a pretty big mess at the moment, but once the book is going to be released, I'm going to have to clean it up and insert it in the back matter of the book perhaps, or maybe I'll keep it as some sort of reader magnet. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it exactly yet. But regardless, when it's out for public consumption, it's definitely going to be cleaned up. The one below that is the Demon Mage, which is the second main character, and all of her abilities, Demon Focus and then Mage Focus. So again, all of this is messy, and anything and everything could be changed before release.
Now this is the first video in this series I'm planning to do. The next video is going to be about how I plan to launch the Visaria Online books. Again, I'm going to be hamstrung with money, but I'm going to try to do a better job of it than the Lost Sun books. So that'll be in the next video. So for now, thank you for listening to this, and I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you keep an eye out on my books as they come out on Amazon, and keep watching my videos, because I hope we'll both learn a lot from this. It's going to be fascinating for myself to come back in a year or two time to see how I launched my make or break book series, because it feels a bit like that way. If these books don't make their money back sort of thing, it's kind of make or break. So hopefully they do well, better than the Lost Sun book, though that's not going to take much to beat that really. So anyway, like, comment and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Take care.